So we'll explain the concept of composition series. So for that, we should start with what is meant by chain of submodules. One second. Okay, so now let M be a module, then consider its submodules, MIs. Now we say that a chain of submodules is nothing but it is a sequence M1, M2, M3 up to Mn such that M, which is nothing but M0 strictly contains M1. That means there is no submodule between M0 and M1. And M1 strictly contains M2 and so on. The last one is 0 because of course 0 is a submodule, right? So a chain of submodules of a module M is nothing but M0, M1 up to Mn. The last one is 0. The first one is M. And in between, we should not have any other submodule. Okay. Then we say that it is a chain of length n if it contains n submodules including 0. So M will be there. Other than M, there will be n submodules will be there in this chain. Then we say it is a length of chain n. It is a chain of length n. Then we come to what is meant by composition series of a module M. So a composition series of a M is nothing but the maximal chain Mi. Okay. So you take a module M and consider all possible chains of that, and among that you take the maximal chain. Then we say that it is a composition. M has a composition series. That so a maximal chain means what? That is in which no extra submodules can be inserted. So that is same as saying that in terms of quotient, Mi minus 1 modulo Mi is a simple module, just like how is a simple group. So Mi minus 1 modulo Mi is a simple module. Okay, that means there are no submodules except 0 and that Mi minus 1 over Mi, right? So I repeat again, you take a module M, then a sequence Mi is said to be a chain if these are put it in M contains M0, which is same as M, then M0 contains M1, M1 contains up to Mn, which is last one is 0. And a composition series is nothing but a maximal chain. Okay, so maximal chain in a such a way that in between you cannot put any other. Okay. So let's see, before going to this, let's see one or two examples in this maximal chain. Okay. So suppose if I take suppose Z. So Z is a, we know that Z is a module. Okay. Then you can see that Z, then I can talk about 2Z, then I can talk about 0. So this is an example of a chain, right? Who is talking? Somebody is sending message. So for example, the another one is you take Z, then if I take 2Z, then 2Z contains 4Z. Okay, so these are all, in this way you can start getting a chain. So this is a chain which never ends. So you should find the maximal chain. For example, take Z6. So in Z6, you can consider Z6, then 2 times Z6. That means all multiples of 2, then 0. Okay. So in between this, you cannot put any other submodule. So therefore, this is a maximal chain. Okay. So whether you are able to see the screen what I am writing?
Yes.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Whether anyone have problem? I see that somebody is chatting. So until unless you have related doubt, you don't chat. I repeat again, be serious. Okay. So wherever there is a explanation more, I will write it. Otherwise, we will go through that presentation. Okay. So
Yes.
first, initially,
Yes, sir.
one day you will feel little difficult or little different than regular lecture. And can you see my face also? I don't know.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
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 Yes, sir.
Okay. So you are seeing my face. That
Yes,
means
sir.
my expressions, anyhow, you can able to see that. Huh? Fine. So let's again. Whenever I am talking, I will mute all of you so that you can hear my voice. Okay. Fine.
Hello.
So now we know what is meant by a composition series of a module.
Hello.
It is nothing but a maximal chain. So if there exists, the definition is a composition series of M is nothing but a maximal chain Mi. That is same as saying that no extra submodules can be inserted in that chain. Okay. Now the remark one can say is that if M has a composition series of length n, that means it is one of the maximal chain whose length is n. Then we can easily prove that, or we can easily observe that every other maximal composition series or any other maximal chain is also of same length. So it may be possible that there may be more than one maximal chains, but what we should observe is that maximal chains will have, if at all it has a composition series, then the length of each and every maximal chain is same, and you can call it that as length of that module. And not only that, whenever you have a chain, then this chain can be extended to a composition series. It is clear because you consider any chain, and if at all any submodules are missing in that, you try to put those submodules in that chain. After some time, there won't be any submodules left out. That can be considered as a maximal chain. So any chain can be extended to a composition series. Okay, fine. Now the result, an interesting result is that a module M has a composition series if and only if M satisfies both chain conditions. So here chain conditions means ACC and DCC. So if your module has a composition series, then it satisfies both ACC as well as DCC. That means it is both Noetherian as well as Artinian. Huh? Okay, so that means if we know that some module satisfies both ACC as well as DCC, then we can say that it has a composition series, and vice versa. And if you recall our lectures, we proved that Z satisfies, whether it satisfies ACC or it satisfies DCC. Z satisfies ACC but does not satisfy DCC. Okay, so Z does not have a composition series. From that we can conclude using this result. So let's see the proof. Suppose proof is very easy. Suppose assume that M has a composition series. That means what? It has a maximal chain. So every chain it has a maximal chain of finite length, suppose n. So in particular, every chain is of finite length. So once every chain is of finite length, obviously it satisfies ACC as well as DCC, because ACC means if you take any increasing sequence, it should stop. But every chain is already of finite length. So ACC as well as DCC is satisfied by default. Conversely, suppose assume that given module M satisfies both ACC as well as DCC. That means ascending chain condition as well as descending chain condition. Now we have to show that this M has a composition series. So it means we want to show that there exists a maximal chain in this module M. So we construct the maximal chain the following way. First, consider let sigma be the set of all submodules of M. Then obviously, because 0 is a submodule of M, it is non-empty. Now, by using the fact that it satisfies ACC, we can guarantee that every non-empty subset of submodule of M has maximal element by the definition of ACC. Okay. So you call it that submodule as M1. So what we got is M, which has a maximal element, call it M1. Similarly, now applying, because M satisfies ACC, so obviously submodule M1 also satisfies ACC. So as M1 satisfies ACC, by this similar argument, we can say that M1 also has maximal element, say M2. Then M1 contains M2. By repeating the same process for M2, what we get is, you get a sequence M0 which contains M1, M1 contains M2, and so on. But now use the fact that M also satisfies DCC. So here we have a decreasing sequence of submodules. By DCC it should stop. So that means there exists some n such that M equal to M0, which contains M1, and Mn that has to be the last one, which is 0. This shows that this M has a composition series of length n. So we proved that a module has a composition series if and only if it satisfies both ACC as well as DCC. So if we know examples of modules which doesn't satisfy any one of ACC or DCC, then we can assure that that module does not have composition series. Okay, fine. Now we can give a definition. A module satisfying both ACC as well as DCC, then we say it is a module of finite length. Then we can observe that by previous result, a module satisfying ACC as well as DCC, then it has a composition series. So M will have a composition series. That means it has a length. That length we will call it as length of this module, and we will denote by L of M. So if we are writing L of M, that means this module has a composition series, and length of that we are denoting as L of M. Okay. Why we require this? And the similar thing we can relate with vector spaces. So let's recall a statement in vector space. Suppose if W is a subspace of a vector space V, then in terms of this exact sequence, W is a subspace of V. So 0 to W, W to V, and V modulo W is a quotient space. So this we have an exact sequence, and by rank nullity theorem, you can say that dimension of V is same as dimension of W plus dimension of V modulo W. So this similar type of result we can have for these modules having finite lengths. It is not true for any such modules, but modules having finite length, this is true. So what we have is the length Lm is an additive function on all the class of A modules of finite length. Is same as saying that if you have an exact sequence 0 to M prime to M, M to M double prime, if at all it is exact, then length of this M is same as length of M prime plus length of M double prime. Okay, so it is similar to this, because you might have seen that this one, the whenever you have this exact sequence is mean of same as saying that this m double prime is isomorphic to m modulo m prime. Okay, so this m double prime you can always think of m modulo m prime, and it is similar to this. So length of m is same as length of m prime plus length of m modulo m prime whenever this all are of finite length. Okay, so proof is not at all difficult. Somehow we should get a maximal chain for m involving a maximal chain for m prime and maximal chain for m double prime. Remember, all these m prime, m double prime are submodules of finite length. Okay, that means they have maximal chains in that. Now consider, suppose m prime has a composition series which is for m prime. Okay, m naught prime containing m1 prime containing and so on, mn prime. The last one is obviously 0. The first one is that submodule. Okay, and also for m double prime, which is same as m modulo, which is isomorphic to m modulo m prime. And we know that how any submodule look like in m modulo m prime. They are all nothing but submodules of m containing m prime. So m1 modulo m prime, m2 modulo m prime, and so on. Suppose this is a composition series for m modulo m prime. Now you can easily get a composition series for m. What is that? You can see that m1, because this m1, m2, they are all submodules of m, and m1 modulo m prime contains m2 modulo m prime, means m1 contains m2 and m2 contains m3 and so on. So you have m1 contains m2 up to mm, but mm is same as m prime because this quotient is 0. So mm is same as m prime. Then you come here, m prime contains m1 prime, m1 prime contains mn prime, which is 0. So obviously, what is the length of this one? How many submodules are here other than m? Here you have m and here you have n. So the length of this chain is m plus n, which is nothing but length of m prime plus length of m double prime. So we have proved that whenever you have an exact sequence, then the length is additive. That means length of this m is nothing but length of m prime plus length of m double prime. Okay, fine. Now we also have interesting result when we have a vector space. So you take V, which is a vector space. Suppose assume that V is a vector space over a field K. Then the following are equivalent. If V is a finite dimensional vector space, is same as saying that V, when you consider as a module, it is always a finite length, and it satisfies ACC and also it satisfies DCC. So all these four are equivalent. If one of them is true, all will be true for a vector space. And if these conditions are satisfied, then length is same as dimension. Our dimension of a vector space is same as its length as a considered as a module. Now let's prove this one. Suppose assume that we will prove 1 implies 2. That means you assume that V is a finite dimensional vector space. Then we want to prove that V, when you consider as a module, we want to show that it is of finite length. That means it should have a composition series or it should have a maximal chain. Then we are done. So what is meant by saying that V is a finite dimensional vector space? It has a finite basis. Call it x1, x2, xn. So if x1, x2, xn is a basis for V over a field K, then from this we will construct a maximal chain. So here obviously the submodules are nothing but subspaces of this vector space, right? So how you can construct a subspace here is that first you start with V, obviously, which is nothing but x1, x2 up to xn. Then you remove xn. So you consider the subspace generated by the elements x1, x2 up to xn minus 1. Then clearly this is a subspace of this one and it is strictly included. And in between these two, you don't have any other subspace which you can put in between these two. Then similarly, next one, you take x1, x2, x2, xn minus 1. Then clearly, in between them, you cannot put any submodules or subspace. Okay. So it shows that this V starting from x1 up to xn, then by removing one element from the end last, you will get that up to 0, it is a composition series of length n. So that shows that if your vector space V is a finite dimensional, then you always have a maximal chain or you have a composition series. And how this composition series? Take all the elements, the next one, remove the last one, xn, then take remaining elements. After that, remove two elements, take the remaining elements, the subspace generated by remaining elements, and so on. So this is a maximal chain we can get, and hence it is a finite length. Now, what we will prove is 1 implies 2 we have proved, and 2 implies 3 is obvious, as well as 2 implies 4 is also obvious, because if it is a finite length, by definition, a finite length means that module is already satisfying ACC as well as DCC. Okay. So to prove this 4 are equivalent, what we will prove is the following: 1 implies 2 implies 3. Then we will prove that this 1 implies 4. So we'll show that 1, 2, 4 are equal. We'll also show that 1, 2, 3 are equal, so that all 4 will become equal. Okay. So now we have shown that 2 implies 3, 1 implies 2, and 2 implies 3. Now we'll prove that 3 implies 1. That means 1, 2, 3 all will become equal. So how we will show that 3 implies 1? What is meant by 3? 3 is nothing but it satisfies ACC condition, and we want to prove 1 means we want to show that V is a finite dimensional vector space. So we want to show that V is a finite dimension. So we will prove by contradiction. Suppose assume that V is not finite dimensional. So what is meant by saying that V is not finite dimensional? You can always have a infinitely elements which are linearly independent. Suppose then there exists an infinite sequence xn of linearly independent elements of V. If you take that every independent set is finite, then obviously the largest one will be the basis, and you will get that it is a finite dimension. So whenever you have a vector space which is a finite dimensional, you can always find an infinite sequence which is of elements which is linearly independent. So once you have an infinite sequence of linearly independent elements, then we construct a sequence of these subspaces. So you call it UN, which is the subspace generated by n elements, namely x1, x2, xn. So what is U1? U1 is the subspace generated by this element x1, and U2 is the subspace generated by the element x1, x2. Similarly, UN is generated by x1 up to xn. Then what you can observe is that U1 is generated by x1 and U2 is generated by x1 and x2. So there is no subspace between x1 and x2. So you get a strictly increasing sequence which never stops. That is a contradiction to ACC, because ACC says that whenever you have an increasing sequence, it should stop. But the way we have constructed these UNs, it is a strictly increasing sequence which never stops. That is a contradiction to the assumption that we have ACC. So that contradiction arises because we have assumed that V is not finite dimensional. Hence, V has to be finite dimensional whenever it has a ACC condition. So we have proved that 1 implies 2, 2 implies 3, and 3 implies 1. That means 1, 2, 3 all are equivalent. Now we prove that 1, 2, 4, these are all equivalent. So therefore, all will be equivalent. So how will, the way we have shown 3 implies 4, similar way we shown that 4 implies 1 also. Again, we prove by contradiction. Suppose assume that V is not finite dimensional and we have a DCC condition with us. Okay. So this is same as saying that we have, because it is infinite dimensional, we have a sequence xn of linearly independent set. Here we have constructed an increasing sequence in this case. Here we should construct a decreasing sequence. So how we will get by same xn's or this sequence xn's, we should get a decreasing sequence which never stops. So if you start thinking of such sequence, you here if you see that un we have taken from x1 to xn, but whereas vn you take from xn onwards, it is called tail sequence, xn plus 1 and so on. Okay, one second. So if your video or something is disconnecting, that means your signal is weak. Okay, so try to sit some place where you are receiving full signal. Okay, fine. So if you notice the difference, this un is element starting from x1 up to xn, but whereas vn starts from xn and remaining all elements. So this is the subspace. Then v1, for example, I'll explain what is v1. It is the subspace generated by all these elements x1, x2, x3 and so on. Then v2 is nothing but the elements starting from x2 generated by x2, x3 and so on. So you can see that v1 strictly contains v2 and v2 strictly contains v3, and this sequence is a decreasing sequence which never stops. So therefore this is a contradiction to our DCC condition that proves that this v cannot be infinite dimensional. So whenever it has a DCC condition, v has to be finite dimensional. That concludes the proof that for a vector space v, what we have is that if v is a vector space and if it is finite dimensional, then it is of finite length and it satisfies ACC as well as it satisfies DCC, and dimension of v is nothing but its length. Okay, so let's have some small break and see whether you are understanding or not. Okay, so now tell me whether is that clear up to here? Any
Yes.
problem you are having, whether I am going fast?
No, no.
Are you able to understand or not?
No, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
There are 20 participants. I will take these people attendance. It is anyhow recorded. So all here, whatever people are there, it will be visible. You should speak with me. Huh? So there will be 1 or 2 more results I will discuss today, but I repeat, for next lecture you should read that material so that you can understand things. Okay, so you should come by reading all the material which I shared with you already. Then you will understand even more better and it takes less time. Okay, because this is first lecture, I am not going to take too much. Of course, we will take 1 or 2 results now, but later onwards, you should come with preparation so that you will understand and all our efforts will be useful. Okay, right? We are not taking lecture just because of I have to finish syllabus, or for administration we have to tell that we have finished syllabus. Our intention is you should understand. If you have any difficulty, I am here to help. Okay, fine. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed or not?
Yes, yes.
This composition, 1 or 2 results are there, we will complete that. Okay, right? So let's go back to the screen again. I'll unmute all. I'll mute all. So this is the result which we have seen. Now this is an interesting result. It's, you can say, as a corollary to the above one. This says that under what conditions your ring Noetherian is same as Artinian. So if your ring is Noetherian, can we say it is Artinian? Or if it is Artinian, can we say that it is Noetherian? In general, it is not true, because just we can have an example. Z doesn't satisfy. Z is not both. Okay, right? So Z is only Noetherian but not Artinian, because it doesn't satisfy the DCC condition, right? But if we have a condition, this one, that says that in your ring, if at all, if product of some maximal ideals is 0, that means in which the 0 ideal is product of some maximal ideals, they need not be distinct. For example, M1 square is 0, or M1 square into M2 M3 is 0. Then in such case, we can say that if that ring is Noetherian, is same as it will be Artinian, or vice versa. Okay. So this result you can at least highlight in such a way that under some conditions, Noetherian and Artinian are same. So what is that condition? Is that if at all in that ring you have some maximal ideals, not necessarily all maximal ideals, such that their product is 0, then Noetherian is same as Artinian, or Artinian is same as Noetherian. For example, you take Z6. In Z6, you know 2 is a maximal ideal, 3 is also maximal ideal, and their product is 0 in Z6. So Z6, you can say that it is Noetherian as well as Artinian. Okay, just we are giving an example how you are applying this result, how you will understand this result, right? Fine. So how we will prove that? This, consider the, for proving this one, we will use the previous result. Remember what is previous result? That result is applicable for vector space. So if you have a vector space, if it is finite dimensional, then all remaining all are equal. Okay. Now we will assume that A is Noetherian, then we will prove A is Artinian. Then if you go from bottom to top, you will get A is Artinian implies A is Noetherian. So at present, assume that A is Noetherian. Then consider the chain of ideals. A, M1 is a maximal ideal. Remember, all ideals are submodules. So we are considering this as a ideals as well as submodule. Okay. So you take A, which contains M1, then obviously M1, M2 is contained in M1. Then M1, M2, M3, Mn, which is given to be 0. So you consider this chain. There is no guarantee that this is the maximal chain, or there is no guarantee that this is a composition series, because in between M1 and M1, M2, there may be some ideals. So we are not sure. But what we do is, because M1, M2 is a submodule of M1, you can talk about its quotient M1 modulo M1, M2. So this is a submodule of what? This is a submodule of A modulo M1. Here it should be M1, because M1 is a submodule of A. So you can talk about A modulo M1. So A modulo M1 is a module, quotient module. Now, what are all, how any submodule look like A modulo M1? First of all, it should be of this form, where because M1 is a submodule of M1 containing M1, M2. So therefore, M1 modulo M1, M2 is a submodule of A modulo M1. I repeat again, this is M1, right? Now, we know that M1 is a maximal ideal. Because M1 is a maximal ideal, A modulo M1 will be a field. So this is a field, right? So once it is a field, then any submodule or any module or a field is nothing but a vector space. When we discussed examples of submodules or examples of modules, if your base field, base one is a field, then any module is nothing but vector space. So module or fields are nothing but vector spaces. So because this is a module or a field, that means this M1 modulo M1 M2 is a vector space for A modulo M. Now, because A is Noetherian, all these things are being a submodules, they are all finitely generated. We have proved a result that A is Noetherian, then every submodule is finitely generated. In fact, it is if and only if statement. So this M1, M2, these are all submodules of A. So therefore they are finitely generated. Because they are finitely generated, M1 modulo M1 M2, it is also finitely generated because M1 is finitely generated. So what we have concluded from here is that M1 modulo M1 M2 is vector space over this, and because A is Noetherian, this is a finitely generated submodule of this. Okay, so what we have got is that this M1 modulo M1 M2 is a finitely generated or finite dimensional vector space. So once by using previous result, if this is finite dimensional vector space, then it satisfies ACC, DCC, finite length, all are true for any finite dimensional vector space. Okay, so this is not only true for this M1 modulo M1 M2, it is also true for each factor Vi, which is M1 M2 Mi minus 1 modulo M1 M2 up to Mi. So each one is a finite dimensional vector space over A modulo Mi just before that. Okay, therefore for each this one, for each of this, what we have is ACC is same as DCC. So because A is Noetherian, it implies ACC, this ACC is satisfied. So therefore DCC is satisfied for each Vi. Okay, then each for this each Vi ACC here, that means for this quotients, whatever you have, for them ACC is satisfied. That means whatever you have here, for this ACC is also true for A. So once ACC is true for A, because ACC is same as DCC for each Vi, therefore it is true for this chain also, whatever you have. That shows that this A will become Artinian. Okay, because DCC is true for A and DCC is same as ACC, and hence A satisfies this one, right? So whenever you have this product of maximal ideals is 0, and if it is Noetherian, then we prove that it is also Artinian. Okay, fine. And if you go from here to this bottom to top, you will prove that, you will see that A is Artinian implies A is Noetherian.